20 Democratic presidential hopefuls will be in Miami for the first two primary debates Wednesday and Thursday of this week. It's a crowded field of contenders, which means it could be tough for some of the major candidates to break out. We're joined now by Tisch Sussman, host of Your Primary Playlist podcast and advisor for Swing Left. She's also a Democratic strategist and former staffer for the 2008 Obama campaign. Emily, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so I want to start with this crowded field that we're going to see Wednesday and Thursday. What do some of the lesser-known candidates have to do to really break out from the field?
I mean, honestly, I'm not sure there's really much they can do. The format is so tight. They're not even going to have opening statements. Like, they'll get a question, they'll have 60 seconds to answer it, they have 30 seconds to rebut. I think the best thing that they can do is be clear about who they are and why they're running. People want to know that they have policy platforms, but to get into the details, like, this is just not the moment to be breaking out with like an intense policy agenda around some kind of area. There's no time to get into it. And for the listening audience, there's not going to be time for them to be able to process it. Like, it's going to be so much information. Not only is it 2 hours, but it's over 2 nights. Like, there's just so many candidates. So I do worry that we're setting up an expectation that candidates are going to be able to do something to really break out. I think mostly people are just going to be watching it and think, okay, I'll keep them on my list. I still like them, and kind of be finding favorites as opposed to like really honing in on a candidate.
Okay, so when it comes to strategy, if you were advising any of these candidates right now, would you maybe suggest trying to work on a viral moment that maybe would get replayed over and over?
Look, that's the best thing that you can ask for any candidate at this point, right? Like, the media field is so hard to break through. And a lot of what voters are questioning is, can any candidate go up against Trump? Trump is the media master. So if any candidate is able to really create a viral moment, that's huge for them. It's a little bit hard to see how they will. From what I've been understanding, a lot of candidates are preparing themselves to actually be attacking Biden, since he really is the front runners. They're looking to distinguish themselves, and I think probably also show that they're tough. Also, to go back to that point of being able to take on Trump. I do think that we'll probably expect to see some contrast from candidates, more moderate candidates, a lot of the governors, and actually saying that they are not socialists. They'll probably be looking to distinguish themselves as being more moderate candidates. That's the lane they want to run in. And I think they want to show that they are a good alternative to for the center of the party, which is a lot of the party, especially considering the fact that Sanders is pretty clear about running as a Democratic socialist, more in that lane. So I think that will be the one place that we do see people really trying to distinguish themselves on policy issues. Otherwise, what I would really advise candidates is talk about values, talk about why you're running. That's the thing that's going to really connect with voters.
As this debate is coming, nearly 17,000 acres of the Florida Everglades currently on fire. How important do you think climate change will play in the first primary debate? You think it's going to be a big issue?
Huge. I think even without the forest fires, it was going to be a huge issue anyway. Look, southern Florida is going to be underwater, in just in about 50 years. Like, it's not like it's a minor issue to begin with. I think both because of the location, climate's a big issue, but I also just think that the world has changed. One of the most interesting impacts of the Trump presidency is that we're seeing Republicans starting to talk about climate change and acknowledging it and acknowledging the effects. So people do expect any Democratic candidate, to be very out in front on climate change, whether it's embracing the New Deal or not. They do expect to see very comprehensive climate packages, and they expect it to be a priority. It was something that had been a priority at the beginning of the Obama administration with the cap and trade deal, but that really fell apart. And everything they did after that was just through more minor regulations. And pretty much everything that was done under the Obama administration, especially around the EPA, has been entirely undone by the Trump administration. So people don't want to just see that there's no action happening on climate. They understand that what has been happening under the Trump administration is actually negative impacts, and it's getting worse. So they want to see how bold candidates can be and how seriously they will take this issue. I think in terms of a political issue, from a political perspective, climate has generally been seen as sort of a niche issue. Like the people that care about climate really care. But if it's not your top issue, it doesn't really resonate.
Right.
I think that is really changing, especially as we see this extreme weather, extreme fires. They're definitely going to have to talk about it. The candidates are.
A new poll from Next Gen has Elizabeth Warren leading amongst young voters. Of course, in this debate, it's over 2 nights, right? So she kind of has the first night a little bit to herself in terms of some of the more popular candidates. How do you think that's going to affect the long-term performance?
Warren will do well in this format. She has a lot to say. She has surmounted, I think, what was her challenge going into this race is that she had a lot to say, but was having trouble connecting the policy with people. And I think that she's done quite well for that. From a debate ratings perspective, I actually think it's probably about as good as the network can hope for people tuning in. The beginning of the first night is Booker. To see him is to love him. The end of the second night is Warren. And then the candidates who are polling higher, like Biden and Bernie, will be in the second night, so people will kind of stay tuned in. I do think it means that a lot of people end up staying tuned in for the long haul and for longer nights. They want to see what it's all about. Like they want to see if people can actually perform on the big stage, which, again, I think is going to be challenging in 60-second sound bites. I mean, the other person that I expect to actually, that I think may do extremely well in the first night that is unexpected is Castro. He's a great candidate. He speaks very well. He has a lot of ideas, and he's really had trouble breaking through the chaos of it all. But I do think that, I think that from my opinion, I think the 2 candidates that have the most to gain out of this, the most potential, are Booker and Castro. I think they both really connect. I think they both have a lot of policies and have been a little bit underestimated by like the massive, vast media coverage of, is Biden up? Is Biden down? I think they've had trouble breaking through, and I think they have the most to gain.
All right. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. Even just putting when we put that graphic up with all of the candidates and where they are in terms of the debates, I can't even imagine hosting this thing. I mean, how do you even keep control of it? I give these the NBC hosts a lot of credit. Emily Tisch Sussman, host of your Primary Playlist podcast and also advisor for Swing Left. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you'll come back after the debate to talk about it.
Definitely. Good to talk to you.